You know what's the most attractive thing? I remember I went out with a friend and we were sitting at the bar, and there was this guy just sitting at the bar eating. And I was like, I was so intrigued for some reason. To this day, I remember it. And I think this was back in 2022. And to this day, I remember because he was just so calm. You know, he was just minding his business. He was just eating and watching whatever they had on the TV at the bar. And he wasn't doing too much. He wasn't talking too loud. He wasn't, trying to be seen. He was just calm, cool, and collected. There's nothing more, for me at least, coming to like hype, but there's nothing more attractive than a man who is just, man says the physical features don't really have much to do with it. It's all about your demeanor. Big up on yourself. It is your girl Chantel, and if you guys have been keeping up with my content, you'll know I'm on this new thing where I'm so intrigued about the world of dating and if men approach, choosing signals, cold approaching, all these things. So I have been doing my research, y'all, and I've been coming across content creators who sharing their thoughts on cold approach and different topics. So I came across this content creator, Marv Over Matter. It is titled Handsome Men's Game, a Solo Night Out. Sounds interesting. I have not seen this video yet, so we're going to take a listen together. Shout out to Marv Over Matter. Let's hear what he got to say.
What up, YouTube? It's your boy Marv Over Matter back with another video, and today what I'm going to talk about is the type of game you should use when you go out by yourself. When you're out on a night by yourself, you dolo, no friends with you, you're at the club, you're at the bar, you know what I'm saying, you stroll in the city, whatever it is. What is the best way to meet women and have success with women when you're out by yourself? So somebody asked me to do this video, and it's a great question because a lot of times, right, people have different schedules from you, so they can't always do the same things. They can't always move when you want to move. I used to go out by myself quite a bit, actually, and I've met plenty of women that way. Now, I'm gonna say, like I always say, it's situational, right? So it depends on you. I can't give blanket advice to everybody, so I'll give a couple different like scenarios. If you are a guy who can attract women without talking, like you get girls that come up to you, then it's very simple. When you go out, you find a place that has the type of women you're interested in. You grab some type of drink. I'm not saying drink alcohol. I don't drink alcohol, but if you grab a water, cranberry juice, whatever it is, just have something in your hand. And this is something I found out because a girl came up to me one time and she was like, yeah, she was like, you're good looking, but she's like, you're not really approachable because like you don't have a drink in your hand, so you don't really look like
interesting.
You don't look like you're fitting in. I forget whatever word she used, but she's basically like the fact that I didn't have anything in my hand made me kind of stand out in a way of like, okay, what is this, like, is he completely sober? Is he this? Is he that? Like,
what? Know. That's odd. Because that's odd to me and what, my reality. That's odd because I would not see a guy out and say, oh, he doesn't have a drink in his hand, so he doesn't fit in. Interesting. I'm learning different people's points of view. This is interesting.
It just kind of was a little off-putting, I guess. So that's something that you want to make sure you do when you go out by yourself, is have something in your hand, some water at least, But from there, you find a spot. A good spot, right? And a good spot is somewhere where you can be seen. You want to be able to be seen. And this is, like I said, if you're a guy who attracts women, you want to find a spot near like the entrance exit area, somewhere around there. You want to find a spot at the bar because everybody's going to come up to the bar at some point. You want to find a spot en route to the bathroom, right? So not, obviously not standing outside the bathroom, but you want to be in a place that's like, if the bathroom's off in the back of the club, right? You want to be closer to the back of the club where, people are going to often walk through. It's you want to find those type of areas.
It's kind of setting yourself up to be seen. Yeah. Because if you go out as a man, if you go out, or a woman, I guess this advice can apply to both genders. But if you go out and you itch up in the corner, or you go out and you're far from where everybody else is, there's a less chance that you're going to be seen. Now, one thing I will insert from a female perspective, at least with my personality, I don't like the kind of guy who it's obvious that they want to be seen. Y'all know the difference. Ladies, if you know, right? Like where he's just loud and he's constantly walking around and he's like, you can tell when someone wants to be seen. And I'm sure women do this too, based off simply what they wear. Depending on your attire, it is clear as day if you come outside because you want somebody to see you. I personally, because I have I'm more low key. I'm more seen, not heard. Okay. Seen, not heard. Let's take it down a notch. So if I go out and I see a guy who obviously wants to be seen, that to me personally is a turn off. But let us continue with what Marv's got to say.
And that's going to give women a chance to see you, right? And in all honesty, what you'll realize is if like I said, that type of guy, women, it doesn't matter. They don't have to see you talking to people. They don't have to see you doing much. Like if there's music, you know what I mean? You just dance a little bit to yourself. That's what I would just do. I would just go, just kind of be by myself, dance a little bit to myself. Now, some of them are just going to come and bump into you. And then, you know, from there you can create a conversation. But some girls will just come up to you. Like I had that happen so many times where I went out. So like one time I went out and literally almost as soon as I got to the spot, I found like a little table. I sat at the table. And I noticed these like two girls looking at me, and they walked over towards me, but they didn't talk to me. They kind of just stood in the vicinity. And I was like, all right, I see what this is. I was like, let me just wait it out, because it always works if you just wait it out. So I just kind of waited it out, and they never really came over. But then some other third girl came over out of nowhere. She was like super assertive, and she was like, hey, she's like, I think you're really cute, blah, 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 gave me the spiel. And come to find out, she had sent her two friends over to like scout, or to kind of like to kind of ask like, oh, you single, you know, do a little bit of the groundwork. But I don't know, I guess they were too nervous to do it. So she was just like, you know, I gotta come over and do this myself, right? So that's something.
Shout out to her. She brave as hell. She brave as hell. I mean, for me, if I was to see a guy out and if he's super attractive and he's standing by himself, I'm going to be curious if he's waiting on someone, or like what's going on, like, you know. But I am curious too, because I feel like the age group also matters. Your age group also determine like certain things. But yeah.
In my hand, I didn't have nothing happen. Now that doesn't happen often. That was like a one-off, right? But it happens. It can happen quick as soon as you get to a place. Another time I went to this lounge type area, and there was like a live performance or whatever. So this girl was sitting on the couch. I'm like, all right, whatever, let me sit next to her. So I sit right now. I'm like, can I sit next to you? Is that cool? Boom. We're talking about the band. It was like a punk band or some shit. I'm not really a big fan of that. So I was asking her like, oh, like what type of music is this? Boom. We can just have a conversation. Cool. At the end of it, I wasn't thinking anything. I wasn't thinking anything of it, right? I was just like, all right, I'm out. Let me just be social. Let me talk, right? And at the end of the conversation, she's about to leave. She's like, okay. Like her friends call her, like, okay, we're about to leave. She's like, okay, cool. And she turns to me. She's like, can I have your number? Right. So it can work either way. It can work.
So okay, that's very interesting, because as he said, it could work either way. Another way it could also work is she not asking for his number, and then she getting on TikTok saying, this guy sat next to me the whole time and he did not ask for my number. Men don't approach, men don't this. So shout out to her for actually saying like, and I'm glad I heard his perspective, because as he said, he was just there vibing. He had no intentions of picking up girls or nothing. He was just listening to the band. So he wasn't even thinking of asking for that girl's number. So, you know, hearing from both perspectives, hearing from a guy who is like, you know, sometimes I'm just out. I'm not trying to holler at nobody. I just want to be out. And then seeing that the girl actually said, you know what? I don't want to risk this. I don't want to pass this guy up. Let me ask him for his number. I did a video the other day when Anton Daniel said women need to shoot their shot. And I was like, But honestly, personally, if it was me in this situation, I wouldn't be afraid to shoot my shot, because he came and sat next to me, and then we were talking about the band. Okay, let me take that back. Let me take that back. I don't know, because it's like, if we're talking about the band, in my head, I will be in my head and I will be like, well, why isn't he not asking for my number? But then, no, because she's leaving first. So maybe if I was leaving, I would have been like, hey, I'm gonna head out. Can I have your number? Or yeah, but if it was he was leaving and he didn't ask for my number, yeah, okay, that's an important piece of the puzzle. But let's continue.
With you just being quiet and, you know, staying to yourself, if you have that type of appeal to women, and you have that approachability that women like. But it can also work if you just go out and just have regular conversation. You can just have regular. There was another time I wasn't by myself, but as far as she knew, I was by myself, and it would have worked the same. I go up to the bar, I'm talking to some girl, just, hey guys, is it cool if I sit here? Yep, have a conversation with her. Now We're talking. Her friend gets intrigued for some reason because her friend was the pretty friend. So she's probably used to the guys coming up to her, but I wasn't paying her any mind. So I'm talking to her friend. The friend goes to the bathroom. The other girl comes over, switches the drinks, takes her spot, and then we're just talking. We end up making out right there at the bar. It's just like there's so many different ways. So the main thing is
she cut blocked her friend.
Man, this is some bullshit.
Wow, these women are savages. Ladies, pay attention. That's why it's best if you go out by yourself. If you're on a dating market and you're trying to meet somebody, go out by yourself. Because homegirl straight up cut blocked her friend. Because she's a pretty friend, she thinks she deserved his attention. That's crazy. Wow.
To be appealing to women, that's the main part of the game that you gotta have if you're going out dolo. And this is just like the dating culture in general. This is why the looks have become such a big deal, because when you're not in a social situation where it's like a social circle, right, and you have no reputation, you have nobody to vouch for you, you have she hasn't had time to observe you and see and know anything about you, that's when you need to lay it heavy on the attraction. So if you're going out on a night by yourself, if you're going out in general, right, but specifically by yourself, you gotta have appeal. You gotta be dressed nice. You gotta be you gotta look loose. You can't be all nervous and tense and looking awkward and looking around. Like you can't be like that. You gotta be cool, calm, in your element. Sometimes girls are gonna approach you, but sometimes you can just go up and have conversation. You can't run around the club looking to try to get something, right? That's not
what I said earlier. Exactly.
When they're running around the club. Like I remember I went out with my boy one time, and this dude, he was dolo, but then he like kind of tried to latch onto us. But then he was just like, yeah, he's like, I'm gonna buy a drink. I'm gonna buy you some drinks, right? So he's buying these girls drinks, and you can see it. He's drunk, so he doesn't really see it, but you can see like, okay, they're using him to get the drinks. As soon as he got him the drinks,
trying
like,
too hard.
Cool. Oh, our friends are over here, and they just off to the races. Right? They got a free drink. He's not gonna get anything out of it. So that's not what you want to do. You definitely don't want to do that, right? You definitely don't want to be out here just like thinking you're gonna lure them in, buying them drinks. That doesn't
absolutely
work.
not. No.
I've seen that fail too many times. I would never buy a girl a drink that I don't know. That makes no sense. But like I said, the main thing is you gotta have that appeal, that presentation. Your presentation gotta be on point. Positioning has to be on point. So you gotta be.
Wait, let me add something real quick. Presentation is on point, and you don't even have to be the most attractive person. As someone who is attracted to unattractive people,
What?
you don't have to be the most attractive person to get women's attention. Presentation on point, how you dress, how you put yourself together, your haircut, if you line up right, you know, your beard tame, if you don't have beard, if your face tamed, I don't know. Key, most important, if your cologne is on point. Popcorn have a song where say, cologne alone make me get Chantel. If your cologne is on point, you do not have to be the most attractive person in the club. You know, so you dress nice. And I mean, depending on the girl. I know for me, as I said, I'm more like low key. I like, you know, dark colors, you know. I don't like the whole baggy and the bright colors and the design on the shirt and the shirt, them where you can see from outer space. Like, depend on the girl. Some girls like that. But, you know, your appearance, shave nice, what I call it, the lineup. If you have hair, your braids, you know, your dreads nice, you have braids, neat, and you just, you know, you put together, you have on your little shirt, not too much, just, and then a cologne for top it off, and then you just stand at the bar and you sit at the bar. Sometimes, you know what's the most attractive? Oh my gosh, you know what's the most attractive thing? I remember I went out with a friend and we were sitting at the bar, and there was this guy just sitting at the bar eating. It was a random Wednesday night, we went for dinner. He was sitting at the bar just eating. And I was so intrigued for some reason. To this day, I remember it. And I think this was back in 2022. And to this day, I remember, because he was just so calm. You know, he was just minding his business. He was just eating and watching whatever they had on the TV at the bar. And he wasn't doing too much. He wasn't talking too loud. He wasn't, you know, trying to be seen. He was just calm, cool, and collected. There's nothing more, for me at least, coming to like hype, but there's nothing more attractive than a man who is just, man says the physical features don't really have much to do with it. It's all about your demeanor. But let us continue. Marv spitting game. Marv putting y'all on game. Okay?
In a position where you can be seen by a lot of girls, right? If you look good and you're visible, That's like half the battle right there. Now it's just like, okay, at some point in the night, girls are gonna start feeling more confident. They're gonna feel more loose. Like when they first get there, they might be a little tight, right? They might drink, get a little looser. Now I'm not saying deal with girls that are just like gone fake. You know, I would never do that, especially because I don't drink. But that can still have a conversation. Maybe they have a little bit of a buzz or whatever, so they feel a little bit looser. I don't drink, so I don't really know how it works, to be honest with you. But they seem coherent. They seem able to have a conversation. They seem to be able to engage, right? So whatever that is, whatever that point is, girls reach that at some point in the night, and they'll come over. Sometimes they'll send their friends over. But yeah, that's essentially the game that you're going to want to use. And if you do have conversation, you want to make it seem very casual. You don't really want to just be going up and like trying to hit on girls, because that just looks creepy. Like you're there by yourself, you know, and you're just hitting on girls. It can look creepy.
I feel like to add to that point, I feel like if you're by yourself, it's best for girls to approach you, because if you are approaching girls and say you approach one and it turned down, and then you approach another one and it turned out, another girl could be watching you and saying, oh, this man just here hopping from girls to girls, just approaching random girls. If you're by yourself and you're sitting at a bar, it's best if, you know, you sit down there, chill, and you allow girls to approach you.
Sure, but it can also look creepy. Unless that's the vibe, right? Because sometimes that is the vibe. Sometimes girls are just, they feeling you. They want to, especially if it's like a dancing environment, like they might want to dance with you. They might get sensual. They might get, you know, whatever that is. But let them initiate that, especially on a night out, because in the club, in the bars, they have too much power. They have way too much power. And it's in those situations where you being calm, you not really paying them any mind, you not being thirsty, when you're in a room full of guys that are thirsty and paying all the girls' mind and you know, buying drinks and just doing way too much. When you're in that environment but you're not doing that, you stand out for that reason.
Yeah.
Why
He's
100%
right. Let me tell you, this man is 100% right. There's nothing like and then you can tell when a guy is trying to put on and fake being calm. And you can tell when a guy is genuinely just calm. Like, I feel like red pill channels make a lot of men who it doesn't come natural to, feel like you have to try too hard. Maybe it will come with practice. Maybe it will come with, I don't know, with whatever. But you can tell when a guy is trying too hard for be this calm. How you can tell? He's still looking around. He's still fidgeting. He's still looking behind him, as Marv said earlier. But when a man calm and he just focus on, I mean, that maybe that's something you can practice. If that's not your personality and you want to develop that skill of being just calm and chill and relax, practice going out more often with no intentions of picking up girls, no intentions of getting approached, but practice going out and just focusing on your plate, focusing on the TV, focusing. But if you're not used to that, if that's not you, trust me, you're going to be looking around, you're going to be fidgeting, and we're going to be able to pick that up. Especially someone like myself who I prefer calm. There's nothing more attractive than a man who's just chill, calm. Let me tell you. All right, let's continue.
Why is he not pressed? What's going on? And if you now, this isn't going to work if you don't look good. Of course, it's not just like anybody can do this and it's going to work. Women have to find you attractive. You know, that's the bottom line. But it's like,
and I want to insert right here, not necessarily look good in terms of like you are in the top, 8% or the top, top 8. You know what I mean? You're 8 out of 10 and over, but look good in terms of like how you carry yourself, how you dress, how you tame your hair, your facial hair, all those things.
From that, it's the fact that you're not thirsty. That's intriguing. I've said this before in other videos, but
he ain't lying.
We're talking about on a night out by yourself. You definitely don't want to look thirsty.
He's not lying.
You want to come off as like cool, confident, sociable, have conversations with this person, have conversations with that person. But you'll catch eyes, and it's like, so you just got to be aware. It's more about being aware, right? Being aware of like, okay, this girl, what is she doing? Is she coming near me? Okay, she's coming near me. She hovering bump me. Let's have a conversation. She's showing interest. You see a girl that everybody's hitting on. Okay, you can go up and hit on her too. Cool, but you'll probably just be one of the guys.
One of the many
in the bucket. If you're attractive enough, maybe she just wants you and she'll come to you. So you wait out a little bit. You see how the night goes. But let's say she's not coming up to you. All right, now what do? You could go up and say something about the fact that all the guys are hitting on her, right? That would separate you from the guys hitting on her. I'm not saying that's gonna work.
Yeah. Yeah, because one thing I must say, if I'm out and I'm getting like, say I'm out at like a bar or a club or something and a lot of guys hitting on me and then I see the one guy sitting at the bar not hitting on me, of course he's going to get my attention more than the men who are hitting on me. But if he does come up to me and say, oh, all these men hitting on you, I don't think I mean, it depends. If he waits until like way towards the end of the night to say that, maybe when he's leaving or something, to say that, yeah, he run the risk of not getting my number because he's about to leave. But that he does stand out. The one who is not hitting on me does stand out. I've been out with a girlfriend before. Funny story. We were sitting at the bar, and we were sitting there, and then this guy came in, smelled so good, walked by us where we had to turn, I had to look behind, like, who that? And then he sat next to me, well, 2 chairs down. So he was immediately next to me because there was no one in the chairs next to me, right? So he sat next to me and he ordered. Me and my girlfriend was talking. We were, having conversation, catching up. And he was just there chilling the whole night, just eating, minding his business. And then this other guy came over. This other guy who was doing the absolute most, shooting his shot, spinning game, talking about himself, talking about his mama, talking about his family, talking about how much money he got, where he worked, and all those things, obviously doing the most. And he was talking for like a good minute. And then when I got up and I went to the restroom, the same guy who was being nonchalant, the same guy who I smelled him as soon as he walked into the restaurant, he turned to me and he said something about like, oh, something about the guy who was doing the most and, spitting game. And, we laugh and and then I walk to the restroom, and that right there was smooth. We didn't exchange contact number or anything like that. He didn't ask for my number. He ended up leaving when the guy who was spitting game was still standing there. But that right there, I would say, okay, yeah, that was smooth. One, it was I who got up to went to the restroom, and on my way there, he said something, right? And then 2, he was there for a significant amount of time before the other guy who came and was trying to shoot his shot came. So it's like, I would say, for lack of better words, he wasn't checking for me. Or that's how I perceived, because he was being all cool, like, just minding his business, eating his food. So he wasn't checking for me. And then he initiated the conversation by saying something. So to Marv's point, yes, I can get that, but like, you have to be careful with that too. It's like, if all these men are coming up to me and then at the end of the night you came up to me, it still kind of made you one of the many men that's coming up to me. It's best if you find the opportunity. If I'm walking by, if you took his earlier advice where you're by the bathroom or you're by a frequently visited area, then that would be a perfect opportunity. But let us continue.
But that will separate you from the long list of guys that's just hitting on her. If it's a night out, you're not going to see her again. It doesn't really matter if she looks that good. Shoot your shot. I just think that's a better shot to shoot, right? Having a casual conversation, or acknowledging the fact that all these guys are hitting on you. That's funny. That happened to you everywhere you go, like shit like that. Just have regular conversation, so you're not pedestalizing her. You're not coming over to her like, oh, I hope that.
Yeah, I agree with this
so
part.
good. Oh, what I mean? All the stuff that these guys are doing. But
yeah,
really, it's about the presentation and the positioning. That's the main things when it comes to going out by yourself. That's what I learned. If you look good and you're visible, you're going to be in a good position by yourself. Because you don't have a bunch of people to talk to. She can't see you being super social. She can't really gauge how you are, how you interact. But if you look good, you seem confident in yourself. You seem chill. You vibe into the music by yourself. You know what I mean? You're doing your thing. You be on your phone, whatever it is. That is going to be your best bet. So those two, and then if you have conversation skills, if you can go up and start a conversation, just a regular conversation, it can be about anything. You don't have to make it super sexual. The fact that you're in the club, the fact that you guys she's dressed sexy probably, you're dressed nice, the attraction will happen. So you just have regular conversation about whatever it is around. Y'all can make fun of people if she has that type of personality. Y'all can like start roasting people, right? It makes you it's like a them versus us type of thing. You can try that dynamic. There's all types of ways that you can do it. You can get into deep conversation. You can do whatever it is, whatever type of angle you want to make it, you can make it. But your presentation, your visibility, and your conversation skills are the main 3 things that you need on a night out by yourself.
I do agree.
And from there, like, it's just like, you got to just see what it is. You got to see what it is. I'll be honest, I don't know how to, and I'll be honest, without the presentation, like without her being attracted to you, I don't really know if there's much you can do on a night out. I'll just be completely honest.
That's true. But I feel like, as I said earlier, I feel like the presentation, you have 80% of the presentation in your hand. The other 20% is your genetics, your height, and your face, right? Those two things you can't change. But the other 80%, how you dress, how you smell, if you keep your hair neat, if like all those other things play a bigger part, pardon me, it plays a bigger part than your height and your looks. Because even going back to the guy that, the second story I told, the guy who was just sitting by himself at the bar, both of the stories, actually both of them, going back to them, those men weren't over 6 feet. The one that was, the second one, the one that said, oh, you talking to your little friend or something like that, the one that made a joke, I want to say, I would put him at probably like 5'7", 5'8". Still caught my attention though. And then the one that was sitting by himself at the bar, I would put him probably around like 5'9", 5'10". Caught my attention to this day, 3 years later, and I'm mentioning him. Right? So it's like, things that you can't control, don't worry about them. The things that you can control, how you dress, how you smell, and how just chill you are, top tier.
I would say the only exception is if you just have a really charismatic personality and you're like funny and you can get her to laugh. I know guys think being funny it doesn't work. And I would say if you're already attractive and then you try to be too funny, that could throw it off. But if you are one of those few people that's genuinely funny, that genuinely has a really, really charismatic, outgoing, happy personality, and
I'm glad that he said that. I'm glad that he said that if you're genuinely funny, because you have some people who aren't funny at all, and they will try to be something that they're not. As I said, the men who sit at the bar trying to be low key, but you're not. No. But if you're genuinely funny, then run with a joke. If nobody on this earth has ever described you as funny, do not run with a joke. Right?
You're trying hard. That will be the great equalizer, right? And allow you to connect with women, even in a nightclub situation. But the chances, not a lot of people have that type of personality. So if you do, you already know this. You've already experienced this. So this is just me preaching to the choir. But for most guys, that attraction is going to be the main thing. It's kind of like a dating app. It's like there's a whole bunch of options in one situation, and the girls have so much power that it's like only the guys who look good are going to really stand out. Everybody else is kind of going to get used for drinks, going to get used for attention, going to get used for validation. But the guys who they really like are going to stand out, and you have to.
And that's why I'll even insert another tip right here. That's why it's best to go out on nights when there's not a lot of people. Try to stay away from Friday and Saturday nights. You got way too much competition on Friday and Saturday nights. It's kind of like a dating app, as he said. You're going to have way too much competition. Try to go out on nights like Wednesday night, Thursday nights, random nights where it's like, okay, you might not meet somebody, but if you do, you're not going to have enough competition to actually talk to the person. And then also too, even if you go out on a Thursday night and in the bar or the restaurant you go to empty as hell, this is a perfect opportunity to practice you being low-key, nonchalant, chill, if that's not you. Okay, so yeah.
If you're one of those guys, you can't act like the validation guys. You can't, because if they can get it from you, that might just be enough. They might not even want you. They just want your validation, your attention, right? You can buy them drinks so they can feel good about themselves. Because a lot of times girls just go out to feel good about themselves. And that's another thing. You got to be able to spot the girls that are actually looking to engage and looking for something, right? So this is where paying attention to their eyes is very important. The girls that are looking around and that are really like paying attention to the environment, they're paying attention because they're looking for something. The ones who are just running around happy with their friends, like, and they're just her and their friends are just in their own world, like, let them go. I've yet to see that really turn into anything. Because we've all been in those situations where the girls are just so. And I'm gonna be real. This is specifically with white girls. I feel like they just be in the club. It's like their own. They're in their own world in the club.
Doing that little dance. Doing the little dance. Shout out to the white girls. To that point, it's so interesting he made that point, because you remember what I said earlier? A man who is sitting there and he's just looking around and looking, he's not nonchalant, he's not low-key, he's just not there to just chill and, be in his company. It's the same with the flip side, because a girl who is just sitting, looking, staring, and she with her little friend, okay, she's not going to approach. So it's like, you remember, men and women look for different in attraction in us. So we probably like, to his point, as a woman, we like a man who is not looking around, who is just chill, who is just, standing there with his drink or with his plate of food, or just, watching the game or whatever they have on TV. Where on the flip side, men are looking for women who, according to Marv, men are looking for women who are looking around, because it seems more like they would be more they would engage more in a conversation. Interesting point. Never even thought about that. All right.
Really like go out of it. So it's like with them, I kind of just let them do their thing. But if you notice girls that are looking around, that are observant, they're looking for something, and they're most likely going to be more open to engaging with strangers, because they're not so invested in their group. That is something that I also notice when I'm out. Girls that are looking around, because those are the ones you're going to make eye contact with, because they're looking around. They're looking for something. So that's another key. You got to notice those type of girls, because those are the ones that you'll actually be able to have something happen with. All right, fellas. So that's the video for today. Like, comment, subscribe.
All right. Shout out to Marv for dropping his gem. Although his gems weren't directed to my gender, I was still able to take a little thing or two. I am so curious about men's perspective on the dating market, y'all. I am so curious because, as I said, like, you can sit in your echo chamber and you hear about your girlfriend's experience, and you hear what girls have to, women are so vocal on TikTok, and they say men don't approach, and it's so hard to meet men these days, and whatever. I'm curious what the men are going through and what the men are saying. So this was a great clip. Shout out to Marv. I will link his the video in the description box. So you guys can go check him out and show him his support, and thank him for the advice. I think as a woman, I think he gave some solid advice. I can agree with majority of the things he said. But y'all, it is your girl Chantel. Y'all, leave your thoughts in the comment section. I am intrigued to learn more. Go watch this video. I went outside to see if men approach. If you have not already, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll see y'all in the next video. Take care.